Hey guys, Drake from Adventures of Aetheria here, and I've got a question for you. Have you been struggling to create good encounters for your D&D party? Have they been saying things like, this was too easy, or we need something harder once combat is over? Well, today's your lucky day, because I'm about to walk you through my custom method to creating encounters that can actually hold their own for longer than one round of combat. I call this method the S.T.A.C.K M Method, standing for stats, traits, actions, challenge rating, kill ability, and last but not least, should there be multiple. First off, we'll dive into the stats. We will use the Dire Warg from D&D Beyond as an example here. Let's see, it has a pretty good array of stats. And I can't help but wonder if my party was to ever encounter this creature, would they be able to hold their own, or would this creature be way too weak to deal with them? It's important to compare the stats of your creatures to the stats of your party to make sure that if a creature's stats is too low, that they don't just wipe it out in one hit. Even though that can be fun sometimes, we want to make sure that if it's an important combat that you have been setting up for months, that they aren't just going to deal with it as if it was nothing. Next off, we're going to go into traits. The Warg, for instance, has the magic resistance trait. If I was going to throw this creature against my party, I think a few players would have a bit of difficulty, as a lot of them focus mainly on spellcasting. But there are few martial members on my party that can make up for that weakness. Next, we're going to look at actions. I personally, if I'm only using one creature to fight an entire party like I probably would for this Dire Warg, want to make sure it has multi-attack. It helps keep the fight balanced without having to introduce too many targets. But, like always, make sure that whatever this creature has in terms of actions, reactions, and bonus actions, that the party is able to deal with it. If it's too overpowered, it might end up ruining the fun for both you and your players. Next, we want to make sure that the challenge rating is something within what the player's level cap is. Now, the Dire Warg has a CR of 10. But I personally have found that CR10 is actually usually really good for players that are like levels 5 to 7. They're they usually feel like they can be a little overpowered, but if you want the combat to drag on for a little longer without making it too boring, slightly higher CRs are usually a good way to do that. Now, we want to make sure that the creature is killable. After all, no one wants a TPK, especially if the campaign has been going for a while and you really want the story to continue. So make sure that if your players are able to kill it, make sure that the combat is meaningful and actually feels like a proper fight so that they can celebrate being able to defeat what feels like a powerful foe without bringing them to the brink of death a few too many times. And then finally, we're at M for multiple. If your creature is too weak to fight alone, you might want to ask, should I add more of them into the fight? The answer to that for me is, well, if it has abilities like, say, pack tactics from wolves, or some kind of ability to work really well with others of its kind, say the normal wargs that are right above it in the stat block pages, then I say sure, go right ahead, add 100 if you have to. But make sure that if it can't work well with others, that maybe you could add an additional trait or a new attack into its stat block. Something custom in order to help make the encounter more fun. After all, if If you're fighting a troll and out of nowhere it starts using acid breath in the middle of a swamp, the party is going to be all like, where in the world did it learn to do that? Which can actually be a great way to segue into some interesting lore after the encounter is done. But there you have it. That is the S.T.A.C.K M method. I hope you guys enjoy using this method to create counters for your own combats and for your own campaigns. I hope you've enjoyed, and if you have, please make sure to comment what you've enjoyed about this method and what's helped you, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. It is free, and you can always change your mind if you get bored of our content later. But, just for fun, if we reach 100 subscribers by the 6th, I will add a guide into our Patreon for you all to enjoy so that you can walk your friends through the steps to building their own encounters as well. But for now, this is Adventures of Aetheria, signing off. See you next time.